I'm A.D. Miller, the author of Snowdrops, and I'm going to read the very end of my book. You've wanted to know why I haven't talked to you about Russia. It's partly because it seems so long ago and far away, my old life without a seatbelt, too hard to explain to anyone else, too private. Well, Snowdrops is the first-person story of Nick Platt, who is a 30-something, rather lonely, rather louche English lawyer living in Moscow in the years of the Russian oil boom, the years before the credit crunch. And it tells of the events that happened to him, in which he participates in during his last winter in that city, when he becomes embroiled with two young Russian women whom he meets on the metro. And really, it's a story about moral degradation. It's about how a seemingly ordinary, recognizable Englishman comes to be complicit in very bad deeds. I guess maybe that's true of all our lives. Nobody can ever live yours except you, whether you live it in Chiswick or Gomorrah, and there's only a limited point in trying to revive it in words. And it's partly that the way it ended, it seemed best to let it die. I didn't think I could tell you the whole story until now, so I've just kept quiet. Part of the inspiration was some reporting I did on the role of snow and the winter in Russian life, and how they shape the rhythm of life and the psychology of Russians. And in the course of that work, I discovered the concept of the snowdrop, which is a lovely name for a horrible thing. It's a Russian slang term for corpses that are buried in the snow and emerge in the thaw. And to me, this told you something, this idea told you something about the harshness of life in modern Russia for some people. But it hasn't only been that. Since I'm being honest, or trying to be, since I'm telling you almost everything, I shall tell you the other reason, maybe the main reason. It's up to you what you do about it. I've worked as a journalist for quite a long time. So it was a challenge for me to switch to fiction and to kind of deal with the burden and as well as the freedom of making things up. And specifically, a first-person story was harder than I anticipated, because you have to try to convey things to the reader that the narrator can't see, and you have to hope that the reader will understand that judging the narrator and not necessarily liking him are a part of what the book is supposed to be about. Of course, when I think about it, there is guilt. There is some guilt. But most of all, there is loss. That is what really hurts. I miss the toasts and the snow. I miss the rush of neon on the boulevard in the middle of the night. I miss Masha. I miss Moscow.